morning, everyone. I don't have my counter to see where I'm at. For some reason, the timer's not working on the phone this morning. So I hope I didn't jump into this too short. I wanted to do a quick haul video. I've not done one for just general stuff. I have for my Stampin' Up! Releases, but unboxings, but not a haul. And I'm going to go back about a week and start with the biggest pile first. We had a flea market open up. Well, they had been open and then they closed, and now they're back open again and much more organized and good prices and all that. One of the things that caught my attention was all of their board games were 50 cents a piece. This one had my attention. Stocks and Bonds, exciting new stock market game for investors and speculators of all ages and incomes. And I like the box, first of all, because it opens up like a really expensive book or album. And it's by 3M brand Bookshelf Games. And when you open it up with Stocks and Bonds, you figure it's got to have money or something in it, right? So opened it up. And the board itself, I may do something with. It may become a nice journal cover. But check these out. These are the stock and bond cards. I loved them. We have Shady Brooks Development Company, Valley Power and Light Company, Pioneer Mutual Fund, Stryker Drilling Company, Central City Municipal Bond, and there's some really great colors in here to work with too. So I really like those. These little cards you can do just about anything with. We can alter these, use those as bases. See what this one is. This one looks like it's more of the stocks and bonds stuff. Metro Properties. Uranium Enterprises. Tri-City Transport Company. And let's see. Growth Corporation of America. So I thought those would be really cool additions to a junk journal. And then we have the current market price calculator. And I'm sure with rules in the game that explains that. I'm not into stocks and bonds, so beyond me. But even the base cards, stocks and bonds security reviews, they are, well, my measure is on the other end of the table, but they're about, I'm going to say maybe 4 by 9. And there's 6 of those in here. So that was one of the games that I picked at. Even after I take it apart and destroy the pieces, I've still got, this has got a really nice texture to it. And I love the cover, love the color. So there was that one. The other one was called Personal Preference. This one is kind of, it kind of reminds me as if it might be a would you rather kind of thing. But there's a board, folds up into 4 pieces, like that. And there's these. I'm going to say these are probably the player identification cards, and there's 4 of those. Check out these tile numbers. These are so cool. They're about 1/4 of an inch thick, hollowed on the back, and they're all outlined in a crisp black. I really like those. There's yellow, red, purple, and a bluish green or a teal. So I liked those. Now if there'd have been a pink in here, I might have added these to my Spring Stash Buster journal because those are really cool. And then there are these cards, and I'd have to look and see how many there are. Going to a therapist, going to the circus, being called ma'am or sir, water skiing. And even these cards in their own would be awesome to use. And they're two-sided, so you can pick which side. Returning shoddy merchandise, receiving an award, playing pool. These were under activities. And that pile's probably 1.25 inches thick, so there's a lot of them in there. We have activities, people, food and drink, jalapeno peppers, sake, rice cakes, bagels with cheese and lox, zucchinis, mincemeat pie, cookies, cherry cola, avocado, English muffin. Those were in food and beverage. Then there was people, Wayne Gretzky, Nancy Reagan, Mr. Rogers, Tom Hanks, General Patton, Lady Diana, Mao Zedong, Richard Burton, Oprah, Edward Murrow, Louis Armstrong. There's some really cool cards in there and representing some really cool people. I may have to read this game and see what it's about, see how these cards come into play. This is a potpourri. We have Wizard of Oz, soap operas, pet birds, faith healers, United Nations. But I love the graphics on these cards. They are so cool. Cable TV. So there was that game, and I paid 50 cents a piece for these, and there's a lot of components in both of these games that I can put to use. Then they had a box of curtains for $3 for the whole box. So there were 3 of these valance panels, and I picked these, I spotted these for the lace. Now the fabric itself is a nice pattern and pretty cool, and I could use for flips and stuff. But I like the lace. It almost has a lotus flower pattern on the lace. So there were 3 of those panels. There were several of these. These were laying on top, and that's what first caught my attention with the basket, or with the box. There were several of these strips of this stitched eyelet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 8 of those, and I think they were tiebacks. There were some napkins, just plain brown dinner napkins. Now I may or may not keep everything. Some of it may go back into a thrift box out of my way. There were several shears. I love this rose. But there's one in here that I really, and I'll probably give these back to the thrift store. But I really loved this crinkled gauze. I just love the texture on that. So that one I may have to keep. And a plain. Then there were several lace panels. And I'm going to try and lay this out to where you can see the pattern in the lace. You know, after I went carefully and folded everything, now I'm going to sit here and unfold everything for you. But there's this pattern that has like a cabbage rose and a border print. So there was 3 of these panels, I believe. And then there was this one, similar. There was 2 of these. similar in pattern, but not quite. It's more swirly. Sorry. Oh, make you dizzy on that one. This one has a flower on it, but it's a little different pattern. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is the same. No, the border's different. And this is more of an ecru tone, and there were two of those. And then there was this one. One huge... I think this may have been... No, it was a curtain panel. We're about to be invaded. My tabby cat is trying to see what I'm doing. This almost has a cheesecloth effect to it. But this pattern is puffed up almost like a chenille. Tabby, get your tail out of the frame. Come on, down. It almost has like a chenille texture to it. And there was one huge panel of this. Does it say how big the panel is? No. But it's big. And then there were two valances and one lined drapery panel of this. And it's like a tone-on-tone brocade. Now I'm going to keep the two valances and use those for book covers. In fact, I've got this one picked out to use for a cover for an art journal for my, or junk journal for my oldest sister, who I'm hoping to get to see this fall. And then the one big panel, it's really wide, and I think it will fit my picture window in the living room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into two separate panels and use it for my winter drapes in the living room on my big picture window. Okay, so that was all of that trip. Then Tuesday, I went to Poplar Bluff. And I promised my sister I would show her these. I went to Hobby Lobby, of course. And they had all their lace by the yard, their home decor fabric or trims by the yard were 50% off. And so I picked up several. I didn't pay more than $1.49 for anything that I bought. So there was this one. And I got this one in ecru and in white. And then there was this one. I'm going backwards on this, I can tell. This ruffly one's a little hard. It's got a little bit of a ruffle to it. And flowers, and that's a really pretty eyelet trim. And then there was let's see, this is ecru white. This one's like the first one, pretty similar, but instead of having, yeah, I guess it is the same. It's just the edging's a little different on this one. So I've got 3 of those to play with. This one is ruffled and has a scalloped, whereas the other one has a scallop cut edge and free edge. Then there was this one, and I thought this one was gorgeous. I love all the little stitched eyelet flowers on the bottom of this one. So there's that one. And I have 3 more laces that I picked up. One was this one. I think I have some of this, but I have it in white, not in ecru. This will be a really fine piece to put along the edge of, see, a tuck spot, or on the top of a tag, top or base of a tag. What I did was when I went in, I could have gone absolutely crazy, but I set a limit of I wasn't spending more than $10 on lace when I saw the sale. So I was very selective. I love this one. It has almost a hint of gold in it. Very, very antique-y. And this will go great on anything that I use my antique nickeled eyelets with on a page. It's almost identical to that. And a couple of these I bought the remnants off the bolts so that they didn't have to do fresh cuts. I try to do that. So some of these aren't quite a yard, but basically I went with a yard of whatever ones I picked out. And then there's this one. Isn't that rich? I love that. And the shimmer in the stitching is just a little, stands out just a little bit more than the rest of it because of its density. So there was the lace that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. My main purpose for going to Poplar Bluff, other than that's where my Menards store is at, and they had 11% rebate, and that's when I stock up on household stuff, was to search out thrift stores and flea markets. And I found a new thrift store. And let's see, that was yesterday's thrift store. This is the one I want. They had highlights for children magazines for 50 cents a piece. So I picked up a few of those. And Barry Manilow music sheets. And there's some pictures of him in here as well. But I like the music sheets for his songs. So there was that. That one I can't show. It's a surprise for my sissy, so I can't show that one, sorry. I'll let her show it when she puts it to use. 10-column business disbursement journal for 50 cents. And most of the ledgers that we get are usually green, yellow tones. This one was the red, white, and blue. So wouldn't this look cool in a 4th of July album or a patriotic album of some type? That one was 50 cents. And People Need People. This is an early reader. See if there's a date in here to kind of help. Holt was one of the premier educational books. This was from 1970. And I love a lot of the graphics in here. They don't have the artwork in books like they used to. And I just love the artwork. So there was that one. Maverick Country, Definitive Real Country Collection. And since I do music and entertainment stuff, this one has to go in my collection. There's an early picture of Jerry Lee Lewis, Marty Robbins. Hank Williams. Some really good ones in here. And I'm really looking forward to having this one in my music book collection. Then, let's see, what do I have? Ozark Wildflowers. Now, I live in the Ozarks, so this one had to come home with me. And I couldn't believe that this one was in there. So this one will probably get used in my garden planner because I can't take pictures this good that will look really good in my garden book. Okay, now one of the things my sister's been on the hunt for is stitched books. Books with stitched signatures are so hard to find, and I've determined you need to go back into the 70s or earlier, and I'm finding that textbooks are the best thing to look for. This one has a ton of signatures, but every signature only has like 8 pages to it. So let's see if I can find a center signature here. Looks like there's one. And you can just see the stitching in there. So there was that one that I picked up for her to pick from. And then as I got ready to check out, I found the Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Now this thing is huge. It's probably 7 by 11 maybe. And these have definitive signatures. Here's one. And you can see the thread in this one. This one you can see the thread in the signatures. It's not glued in so tight into the binding that you can't see the thread. I have a feeling that's the one she's going to want to confiscate, but that's okay. I went looking for the stitched books primarily for her, so that was okay. A couple other things in here. I found these landmark flashcards. Taj Mahal, Big Ben, Stonehenge, Mount Rushmore, the castle in Switzerland, or in Germany. Australia. Some really awesome photos, flashcards to use in a journal. And then there was this, and I'm working on memory decks cards, and then this is perfect. I can alter this for memory decks. And then it came with the index card in orange. Not seen orange tabbed ones before. So that might be good for a Halloween collection. And then I picked up, there were 11 issues of Childcraft encyclopedias, and I picked out 2 I thought I would use the most. This one is Poems of Early Childhood. Look at the graphics. Little Bo Peep. Just incredible. I can be a tiger. Where were these books when my daughter was growing up, or my granddaughters now? The months. So there was that one that I confiscated, and then this one is Exploring the World Around Us. And this again has some really good graphics. Look at the little girl with the puppies. The foxes and the chipmunks. Aww. Cats make dainty pets. They keep themselves clean and are quiet and well-behaved. Well, I'm going to question the well-behaved part. I have 3. None of the, well, Goddesses of the 3 is probably the most well-behaved. But there's, look at the black and white images. So yeah, there was those, that was the haul from the thrift store. Then I went to West Plains yesterday, and I went primarily to go to an office supply store in town that I know that has been there since 1927. I've been in there multiple times. I like going in his office supply store. Everything is neat and orderly, and it has a modern appearance, but you know that there are hidden gems in there. And I was jokingly yesterday told him that if anything ever happens to him, I have first dibs on going through the supply room. And he told me I could come in and go through the supply room anytime I want. Because you know there are hidden things back there. So I went into Schwedman's office, and I found a plain guest checkbook. Now this one doesn't have the ticket tab on the bottom. This reminds me of the restaurant pads, order pads, that my sister and I used to use when we played store and restaurant when we were little girls. So I snagged that one. I bought a package of 100 time cards. His price was much more reasonable than Office Depot. Much more reasonable. And I didn't have to buy a brick of like 400 to get them. There are 100 here. And they are from Topps. Topps also makes trading cards. So there was those. And then these caught my attention. If I can get a hold of them. They are report covers that go into the clear sleeves. But I saw the hole there. and they've got a little bit of a texture to them. I think I'd want to brush some ink over there just to see what they do. But my thought was to, and it's not going to fold without being scored, but using that for a journal cover with that window on the front. That would make a really neat traveler's notebook cover. So I picked up 5 of those, and it gave me the idea that I could do these with cardstock. And I have rectangular dies, I have square dies, I have oval dies that I could turn it so that the window runs this way. So I got those at Schwedman's. And I will be visiting Schwedman's again. I really like, he's a really nice guy, older gentleman, and he's got a really good selection of stuff in there. Then I went through the Ozark Rehabilitation Thrift Store, and I picked up 2 cafe panels that had this lace on the bottom. So I have 2 of those. And they had a sheet music for sing-alongs. And these are some older, some of them are a little bit on the older side. Mandy, must have been a Barry Manilow week. Wonderful one. I never knew I could love anybody like I'm loving you. Good romantic songs. And some really cool graphics in the front of this one as well. So there was that. And then I picked up, lastly, I picked up this garden book. It's annuals from the Time Life Encyclopedia of Gardening series. And look at the flower prints in here, graphics in here. These will look great to cut these apart. I'll probably cut them out and scan them so that I can share the scan, so that I can have the scans, and then I can put the actuals in up for sale, which is something I'm planning to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to open up an Etsy shop. I think I'm either going to do a cart on my blog, or I'm just going to do friends and family sales through YouTube until I see what kind of a response I get. So those were my thrift store buys this week. One of the things I learned on the way to Poplar Bluff the other day is that the one of the flea market spots in Van Buren open up their parking lot every Saturday morning, and people can just come in and set up. Some people set up tables and everything. Others just open up the trunks of their cars, and this is what I've got to offer this week. And so if it doesn't rain tomorrow morning, I want to run up there really quick, very first thing, and see what I can bring home. So that's my haul video for this week. I've got art journal stuff to work on today. I need to get my mini challenge done for the ABC Junk Journal Challenge with Dear Julie Julie. I want to finish putting the embellishments in my spring stash busting journal so I can put those items away in my scrap rack off the table. And I have the sample journal to finish for the Stampin' Up! Sweet Sweet Journal class that starts tomorrow. So full day here. I'm glad I've got sun, because sun always motivates me to get stuff done. So whatever you're doing this week, I hope you do have a good one. Get the things accomplished that you want to have done so you can play, and creative blessings.